Your compelling personal story, and that's a story shared by millions of other Americans. It's something of the heart. But as we mentioned as well, it's not just of the heart and of the home. It's for our community and the entire country. And, the President and I can disagree on a number of things. But in 2008, there's some words that I think were clearly on mark in terms of some items we've been discussing today. In his 2008 Father's Day address, the President said this: "We know the statistics that children who grow up without a father are 5 times more likely to live in poverty and commit crime, 9 times more likely to drop out of schools, and 20 times more likely to have behavioral problems or run away from home or become teenage parents themselves. Without the institution of marriage, without particularly the institution of fatherhood, and we are facing a crisis epidemic of fatherlessness in this country, the President and I agree, it has an impact. It's an impact on every child. And the lack of marriage and the lack of stability and that declining awareness of marriage hurts our children, hurts our society. Reminds me of a story that was, I believe, in Dr. James Dobson's book on raising up boys. I do have 2 boys myself. And he noted that some years ago, executives of a greeting card company decided to do something special for Mother's Day. And so in a federal prison, they set up a table inviting any inmate who desired to send a free card to his mom. The lines were long, and they had to make another trip to the factory to get more cards. And due to the success of the event, they said, "Hey, let's do the same thing on Father's Day." But this time, no one came. Not one prisoner felt the need to send a card to his dad. Many had no idea who their fathers even were or how important it was. And so those who are listening, whether you're fathers or mothers or looking at that, recognize that even though the society, even though Hollywood will tell us it's all about you, it's not. It's all about someone else. It's all about that child. They need a father. They need a mother. And no one can be perfect. I have 4 kids myself. I'm reminded of that every day, oftentimes by my daughters themselves. But we aren't asking for perfection. We're just asking for that time to promote marriage and to spend the time with your spouse. If you're not married and you have children, look at getting married. That will stabilize and bring many things to your children. This is National Marriage Week. This is an opportunity here in our nation not only to talk about marriage, talk about its impacts, talk about how its loss has hurt our society. I firmly believe that we could spend endless amounts of money up here, and occasionally we do that. But you cannot replace the family. You cannot replace Daddy. You can't replace Mommy. We can do our best. We can help our neighbors. But as we debate the definition of marriage, where we have a court that on one hand in June says we're going to let the states decide, unless you're in California, and then on the other hand there's a federal definition or state definition. At the end of the day, it's all about how important marriage is. Marriage predates government. We might like to redefine it. In 1856, the Republican Party had a number of things in their platform. One is very important. They demanded a free Kansas. And being a Kansan, that we appreciated that and entered as a free state a few years later. They also wanted to face numerous other things, including the twin evils of slavery and barbarism. They were talking about the issues of irregular marriage and the issues of traditional marriage and how important it was and still is to society. So I appreciate that. Many of my colleagues that joined us here tonight. But most importantly, I wanted to speak again to moms and dads and spouses. Marriage can be tough. It really is. But God is calling you to do everything you can. It's just not you and your spouse. There's a third person in your marriage, and God would like to bless and protect that marriage and give you many fruitful days ahead. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the time. on this special hour during National Marriage Week. And I appreciate folks that are listening, my colleagues. Feel free to tweet out the message to encourage that. We can do many great things up here, we think, in Washington, D.C., but oftentimes it's that one little thing we can do for our neighbors and for our spouses as we celebrate Valentine's this week. And with that, I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman yields back. Members are reminded, direct a remark